Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, hit subscribe so you'll never miss the most courageous dog tales we share every day. A quiet airport, a normal flight, and a child's toy. What could possibly go wrong? The answer, as one K-9 officer discovered, was everything. This is a story about a dog, a family on the run, and the devastating truth hidden in plain sight. It's a story that proves sometimes the biggest heroes don't wear badges and the most dangerous criminals hide behind a veneer of normalcy. The air in Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport hums with a familiar symphony of travel. For K-9 officer Jake Carter, it was just another Tuesday. His partner, a golden Labrador named Barley, a 4-year-old rescue dog with a soul as golden as his fur, walked calmly beside him. Barley was known more for his friendly nudges than for any aggressive alerts. But on this particular morning, as a family of 3 approached Gate C-22 for a flight to Mexico City, the rhythm of the day shattered. The Valenzuela family, a tired-looking father, a mother with weary eyes, and a small boy clutching a tattered blue dinosaur toy, seemed completely unremarkable. Yet as they passed, Barley's ears snapped forward. His tail, usually a metronome of contentment, went rigid. A low growl rumbled in his chest, a sound of warning and sheer urgency. In that moment, Jake had a choice: follow every protocol he'd ever been taught or trust his dog. "Jake, you know the rules. A toy isn't an explosive. Stand down," his friend and fellow officer Dave said, but Jake saw the unwavering certainty in Barley's eyes. He chose the dog. In a terrifying burst of sound that silenced the gate area, Barley barked, not with aggression but with a desperate plea that Jake had never heard before. The boy, Leo, screamed, dropping his toy. His mother gasped, and his father stepped in front of them, hands raised. "Sir, we're just trying to get on our flight." The father's voice trembled. "We have nothing, I swear." The scene devolved into chaos, but Barley stood his ground, a silent, unyielding sentinel pawing at the blue dinosaur. Inside the private screening room, the Valenzuelas sat silently, their faces pale. The search of their bags yielded nothing, but Barley paced in a tight circle, his eyes still fixed on the dinosaur. Jake looked at the family, then at his partner, and he saw a deep, unshakable terror in the parents' eyes. He knew this wasn't about what they were carrying, but what they were carrying inside. With a small knife, Jake carefully slit the dinosaur's seam. The family didn't protest. They didn't even look angry. They just collapsed. It was the look of pure, unadulterated fear and relief all at once. Inside, among the cotton stuffing, was something cold and hard and rectangular. Jake pulled it out, a micro USB drive, and that's when we knew this wasn't what it seemed to be. This was a mystery. And in that small, sterile room with the world's busiest airport humming outside, the real story was just beginning. The USB drive sat on the table, a ticking time bomb of secrets. Agent Dawson, our digital forensics specialist, slid it into an air-gapped laptop. The Valenzuela family, under our watchful eyes, remained silent. Their cooperation had ceased the moment the drive was found, replaced by a quiet, collective terror. Dawson's fingers flew across the keyboard. "It's encrypted," he announced. A collective sigh of disappointment. "Wait, there's a front folder, not encrypted." He opened it, revealing a series of grainy MP4 files and a document titled Intake Route R77B PDF. He clicked on a video. The footage was shaky, shot from a car window. It showed a group of people being herded into a rusty cargo van. A man's voice, muffled and distant, shouted orders in Spanish. The Valenzuelas gasped. Maria, the mother, closed her eyes, tears flowing freely. The document was even more chilling. It was a manifest, a ledger of human lives, names, dates, origins, and destinations. Jake's blood ran cold as he scrolled through it. Valenzuela family 2, adults 1 child, Atlanta to Mexico City today. But a coded note next to their entry read, "Mid-transit redirect via Caracas, handler R77B." And that's when the first shocking truth became clear. This family wasn't smuggling anything. They were the cargo. The quiet room fell silent once more. We had all assumed we were hunting for criminals. But we were wrong. We were looking at a family of heroes who were one paw step away from a living nightmare. Esteban, the father, finally broke his silence. He revealed a tale of fear and desperation. He was an IT contractor who'd stumbled upon encrypted files in his company's system. He realized they were manifests for a human trafficking ring. He printed copies, saved the data, and tried to tell his supervisor, only to learn days later that the supervisor was dead. "That's when we knew," Esteban said, his eyes filled with a raw, desperate fear. "We had to run. We had to get to safety." He revealed that they were trying to meet a relative in Mexico, but the traffickers already knew. They had someone inside. Our flight to Mexico City wasn't an escape route, it was a trap. They were going to separate us in transit. Barley, who had been sitting quietly through the harrowing confession, walked over to the boy and nudged his hand. Leo stirred his small fingers, wrapping around Barley's paw. The dog had not alerted on a threat. He had alerted on a silent scream for help. He had seen what no machine and no human could see: the trauma, the fear, the life and death stakes hidden inside a child's toy. And he hadn't stopped barking until someone finally listened. The Valenzuela's case cracked open a much larger investigation. The federal government mobilized a task force, and Jake and Barley were thrust into the heart of it. The micro USB drive was a treasure trove of information, revealing a network of stunning complexity. "They aren't using land routes," Agent Dawson explained to a room of federal agents. "They're embedded in the system itself, corrupt airline staff, customs agents. They're laundering people through commercial flights, making them disappear after the first leg of their journey. These people don't even pass through the main terminal." The focus of the investigation turned to a specific handler ID from the manifest R77B. It was a common thread woven through dozens of trafficking entries. It led them to a shell staffing company in Delaware, which in turn pointed to a warehouse just outside of Atlanta's airport. As the team prepared for the raid, a name on one of the archived files from the drive stopped Jake cold. "Miguel Lopez." Jake's heart hammered against his ribs. It was a name he hadn't thought about in years, a former police academy classmate who had vanished 5 years ago. Was he a part of this? Or was he another victim? The warehouse raid was a blur of tactical precision. Federal agents moved in silent and swift. Barley, wearing his patrol vest, moved with a different kind of focus. He wasn't tracking, he was stalking. His nose to the ground, he led Jake through the maze of crates and pallets. He didn't bark, he didn't whine. He just froze, a statue of pure focus, his nose pointed at a stack of crates. It was a silent, powerful command. It was as if he was telling us, the answer is here. The truth is in this box. Inside the crates, they found no people. Instead, there were dozens of backpacks, each filled with children's toys, teddy bears, action figures, dolls. And inside each toy, carefully stitched into the lining, was a tiny GPS tracker. The network was planning another shipment just days away. This was their method. They used the appearance of a normal family vacation to move children like products, keeping tabs on them with the hidden trackers. The discovery was a chilling testament to the network's cold efficiency and a crucial turning point. They hadn't just saved the Valenzuela family. They had prevented the disappearance of dozens more children. And Jake knew with a certainty that settled deep in his bones that he and Barley had a personal stake in this now. They wouldn't stop until they found out what happened to Miguel. The raid on the warehouse was a success, but for Jake, the case had taken a personal turn. The discovery of Miguel Lopez's name haunted him. He scoured the confiscated laptops and drives, looking for any clue, any piece of information that would explain his friend's fate. He found it in a corrupted video file. The footage was grainy, the audio distorted, but the face was unmistakable. It was Miguel, thin-bearded and visibly terrified, speaking into a camera. Jake didn't just watch a video. He watched his past, his friend, his own choices flash before his eyes. He saw the face of a man he had forgotten, begging for a memory he no longer had. "If anyone finds this," Miguel's voice crackled, "tell Jake I'm sorry. They lied to me. They said it was just a relocation service, that I'd be protecting people. I tried to warn someone to get out, but they'll just erase me, like I was never here." The video cut out. Jake sat in stunned silence, his mouth dry. The guilt hit him like a freight train. He had moved on with his life, but his friend never got the chance. He realized with a sickening certainty that his friend hadn't been a criminal. He had been a whistleblower just like Esteban Valenzuela, but one who hadn't had a Labrador named Barley to save him. In that moment, the case wasn't just about justice for others. It was about redemption for a friend he had failed. The story became a catalyst. The success of the Valenzuela case led to the formation of a new rescue gate program. The mission was to train dogs like Barley to identify not just threats, but the silent, unseen cues of human trauma. The program aimed to give a voice to the voiceless, to give a chance to those who were running out of time. Barley became a legend within the law enforcement community. His photo hung in 3 different field offices. His story was requested for training manuals, his unique behavior analyzed. But to Barley, none of that mattered. He was still just a dog, a calm, loyal friend who knew his job was to stand by Jake's side, ready for the next call. He was a testament to the idea that sometimes the best instincts aren't a product of training, but of a deep, inborn sense of empathy. 2 months later, the operation was a resounding success. Dozens of suspects were indicted, 3 trafficking warehouses shut down, and the network's shell companies were frozen. Esteban and Maria Valenzuela, now under new names, were living in a quiet suburb. Leo, their son, was in school coloring pictures of a big, brave golden dog with a red collar. Jake received a postcard from Maria. It was a crayon drawing from Leo of a boy holding a toy and standing next to a dog. The caption in shaky block letters read, "Barley is my hero." Jake pinned it to his fridge, a quiet reminder of what they had accomplished. The media didn't make a big deal out of it. There was a quiet press release about an interrupted trafficking attempt, but no mention of a little boy, a blue dinosaur, or a loyal Labrador. One evening, Jake sat on his porch, a cool autumn breeze rustling the leaves. Barley was dozing peacefully at his feet. "You know, buddy," he said softly, "they're going to write a report, give you a medal, but I know you didn't do it for that." Barley simply leaned into his hand, his eyes closed. "I used to think heroes were the ones with badges, the ones with medals. But sometimes heroes have paws." The story of Jake and Barley, of the Valenzuela family, and of Miguel is a powerful reminder. It tells us that sometimes life doesn't warn you before it throws you into the fire. Sometimes the victims don't look like victims. And sometimes the heroes don't wear capes or give speeches. They persist, they protect, they bark. So the next time you see a dog staring intently at something seemingly innocuous, don't dismiss it. Because sometimes the smallest signal can be the biggest story. And sometimes the most silent heroes wear fur, not a badge. If you believe in listening to the unheard and trusting your heart, hit that like button. Drop us a comment about a time your pet's instinct surprised you. Your stories remind us that the connection between humans and animals is a powerful thing. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss the most courageous dog tales we share every day. Thanks for listening.